23 years old, the age where life should be an opening door. For Celeste Manno, it was becoming a prison. A university student with a promising career, a new love, and a stalker who had fixated on her after an interaction that lasted mere seconds. She did everything she was supposed to do. She asked him to stop. She blocked him. She went to the police. But the system looked the other way. This is the story of a failure of protection, a failure of justice, and of a mother's relentless fight to ensure her daughter did not die in vain. At the heart of this story is a young woman who was, to her core, a source of light. Celeste Manno was born in Melbourne, Australia, in 1996, the cherished baby of her family. Even after her parents separated, her home with her mother, Aggie, and younger brother, Alessandro, was filled with a closeness that defined her. Celeste and Alessandro shared a particularly deep bond, a partnership in laughter and loyalty. To her loved ones, Celeste was remarkable for her unwavering positive energy. She faced challenges with a smile, rarely showing frustration, and never directing her hurts onto others. Her guiding principle was radical kindness. She believed fiercely in respect, generosity, and fighting for the vulnerable. This wasn't naivety. It was her chosen way to move through the world. This profound empathy led her straight to studying criminology and psychology at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. Celeste genuinely believed that through understanding, she could make her corner of the world a kinder, safer place. She was the young woman who lit up every room, who studied to heal societal wounds, and whose love for her family was her anchor. Celeste's commitment to her principles extended into her professional life. By age 23, her hard work at a call center had earned her a team leader position. It was here, in June of 2019, that a routine act of professionalism collided with a dangerous obsession. A co-worker, a 35-year-old man named Luay Sako, was being fired for poor performance. Though he wasn't on her team, Celeste, in a gesture of kindness, offered to escort him out. At the door, she extended a hand and wished him well. His response was a sudden, unsolicited kiss on the cheek. It was a brief, jarring moment. Celeste was unsettled but shrugged it off as a strange incident, telling her mother, Aggie, who initially laughed it off. But a week later, the digital bombardment began. Messages from Luay Sako flooded her social media. Confessions of love, romantic poems, claims she occupied all his thoughts. Celeste was horrified. They were virtual strangers. True to her nature, she responded with polite firmness, thanking him but stating his contact made her uncomfortable and must stop. It was a boundary he violently ignored. Her kindness was seen as encouragement. The messages multiplied, morphing from romantic to aggressive and intimate. Celeste blocked him, but he created new profiles. The virtual stalking bled into the physical world. He began parking outside her work, watching her. The man she'd interacted with for mere seconds had, in his mind, constructed an entire relationship. Celeste's life was no longer her own. It was dictated by the fear of where he might appear next. Her mother, Aggie, saw the truth. This wasn't infatuation, it was a frightening obsession. In December 2019, they went to the police, seeking help. The response was a devastating dismissal. Officers told them to just block him, that this was the nature of social media, and that no crime had been committed. They were sent back into the world more vulnerable than before. The system's first failure was complete. Undeterred and empowered by the lack of consequences, Luay Sako's fixation deepened. Celeste's world became a prison of precaution. Colleagues took turns escorting her to her car. Every outing was planned around avoiding him. Yet, in this darkness, she found a sliver of light, a new, caring relationship with a coworker named Chris. For a moment, happiness seemed possible again. Galvanized by this new threat to his imagined bond, Celeste and Aggie tried the authorities once more in July 2020. This time they secured a restraining order. For a few fragile weeks, there was silence. But in August, a chilling violation arrived. A 3-page letter from Luay Sako, begging her to drop the order, blaming her for ruining his life. It was a clear breach of the court's directive. Celeste, doing everything right, took the letter directly to the police. They acknowledged the violation and did nothing. The legal paper shield had proven useless. The final warning was ignored. That silence was a lie. On November 15, 2020, Celeste posted a photo with Chris, a snapshot of normal joy. For Luay Sako, it was a final, unbearable provocation. In the early hours of November 16, armed with a hammer and a knife he'd purchased months in advance, he drove to her home in Mernda. He smashed her bedroom window and climbed inside. Aggie Manno woke to the sound of shattering glass. She ran, screaming her daughter's name, into a nightmare. The room was chaos, glass and blood. Celeste was gone. Luay Sako, in a calculated move, turned himself in minutes later, feigning distress. The aftermath was a grueling 3-year battle for a justice that would never feel like enough. Luay Sako claimed he was commanded by a voice named Isaha, but psychiatrists saw through the act. He was found to be fully aware. His crime premeditated. The obsession had festered for 18 months, culminating in 23 stab wounds. In court, the cruelty continued. Luay Sako showed no remorse, arguing callously over forensic details. When Aggie and her son Alessandro prepared to read victim impact statements, the court censored their raw grief, deeming Aggie's words too emotional. In January 2024, Justice Jane Dixon sentenced Luay Sako to 36 years, eligible for parole in 30. The courtroom was stunned. To Aggie, it was an unthinkable act of compassion for a man who had shown none. But Aggie Manno refused to let her daughter's death be the end. Celeste did everything right, and the system failed her at every turn. Driven by pain and fury, Aggie transformed into a tireless activist. She became a voice for the voiceless, lobbying for stronger stalking laws, for electronic monitoring of offenders, for anything that might save the next Celeste. The system failed, Aggie declares, but silence is not an option. Her fight is Celeste's legacy. It is a mother's vow to shatter the complacency that allowed a known predator to stalk his victim in plain sight, until a final violent breach left a family shattered, and a light forever extinguished. For Aggie, the memories are a double-edged sword. The sound of Celeste's laughter now echoes in empty rooms. The space where her daughter's light once filled every corner is a permanent, silent void. Birthdays are no longer celebrations, but anniversaries of a future stolen. The guilt is a relentless companion, the haunting thought that a mother's love, no matter how fierce, was not enough to shield her child from a monster the world refused to see. She remembers the baby girl, the vibrant young woman studying to heal broken systems, the empathetic soul who believed in kindness as a superpower. Now those beautiful memories are forever tied to the crushing weight of a last futile run down a dark hallway, the feel of broken glass underfoot, and a silence more deafening than any scream. Celeste's absence is not a quiet grief. It is a screaming, howling emptiness where a beautiful life used to be.